Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Brinks Trades coming to you live with another week of breakdowns. Hopefully, you guys have had a great trading week this past week. I know the markets have been just in this crazy chop back and forth as far as like setups go. Like the market's moving, trending, but it's not giving us a lot of setups on the currency side. The indice side has been a lot better, so hopefully you guys are finding some success with that. But I want to go ahead and start off and do the breakdowns for the weekends, and then obviously happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there too, right? So first and foremost, get that out of the way. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go through and talk a little bit more about what's going on when I see the indices, the dollar, and the currency units, currency markets. So hopefully you guys, again, get some value out of this. So where are we with the dollar, right? We always start with dollar index. If y'all been following me for the past couple of years, you know we start with dollar index. Why? Because dollar index is king. Dollar is king, right? If we understand where dollar is going, we can form good hypothesis about where the market's going to go for the rest of the rest of the currency markets, and then also use that to help make the choice for indices. So I'm going to start monthly because I know we entered a new month last month, and I didn't do my monthly breakdown. But if we look at the monthly time frame, right, there's a couple things that have been happening, right? So we see that back into early 2024, early 2025, we basically were in a consolidation, right? That 2023 to 2024, we trended higher, right? Traded up into this old fair value gap. Now, depending on the style that you trade with, you might be looking at this like this is a consolidation, manipulation, distribution. It potentially is um, a you know a testable support or a testable resistance and broken structure. But either way, the market is trending downward. You could also look at this and say it's a double top, but we are getting a bearish market, right? So over the past pretty much year, right, from March 20, well, really from February 2025 until where we're sitting at right now, we can see the market's been moving bearish. And so we've been a lot, really caught up in this chop. But the one thing that's really important to know is that we have to look at the overall bigger picture, right? And sometimes that bigger picture is going to allow us to take swing trades. Sometimes it's going to allow us to take spot trades, right? But the bigger picture still is bearish, right? And so I've been consistently saying that that's what the market is going to run bearish um, for the longest, and I've been saying this probably since last year that my target level is 89.165. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a bumpy road to get there, but ideally, I want to see the market come take this level, right? Especially if you look here and you see us, really failing to break above this level long term, right? I mean, this is July 2016. We tried it up there about 4 years ago, then we tried it up there again and really have failed. And if we go to the year time frame, the cool thing is you can start to see, right? I wouldn't go a year, I'll go 6 months. So it's a little bit smaller. You can see that the market really has failed to stay above this high, right? And this is a very clean break in market structure on the 6 month time frame, the annual time frame, right? So it's giving us a clear picture as to what's going on with the markets here, right? And so with that being said, when you have all that momentum, sometimes just like on the 1 minute time frame, it takes time for the markets to adjust to that, right? And what do we do here in the 6 month? We ran up above that old previous 6 month high, and now we're in the process of going back down. So it's going to be a long time, right? Maybe till we hit the 89 level, but it's going to be something that we're looking forward to over the next few months to years. I mean, this could be the long term trend, right? Um, with that being said, the current chop that we're currently stuck in is essentially that, just that is chop, right? And you can see that there's been a few things that have happened here. We've came out and set an initial high at the high of this, and then we broke structure. If you follow Smart Money Concepts or ICT, he has this concept called like intermediate term highs and long term highs, and it's basically his version of how he looks at market structure. He would define this as a long term high, right? A long term high would be a high with two other highs next to it. It doesn't really matter. It's a kind of a really it's not as important to know how it's lit, how he calls it and what it's called, but it's really more important to know where the market is potentially trending. We are getting a string of lower highs, right, in like a classic downtrend fashion, right? And as these lower highs are being rallied, we're trading it back up into old fair value gaps, and we're trading back into old imbalances here, right? So you see here that we broke structure, traded back up at that fair value gap, broke again, Where was the next level that we're looking at? Well, this fair value gap right there, right? Which also lines up with the previous area of support. So previous area of interest. So you see the market traded up into that, ran lower, right? Took out that low, traded up into this range here, did the same thing. So my target level is still 97.42. I want to see the market continue to do that. And hopefully we'll see something this week. Something like this, right? We see the market come take that low and run lower. So with that being said, I do want to see euro run higher, right? So let's take a look at euro, and same things are outlined, right? So that level here, the equivalent level is that 1.84494 or 1.8494 level. So ideally, what I want to see is the market run and take this high this week. And if you look here, you can even see the market has been kind of giving us higher highs, right? In this range. And this could end up being, a fail swing, right? To go lower, right? But I have to side with the bias, right? We've been in an uptrend pretty much since the beginning of March. We're rallying up again, right? And we are creating higher highs. So until this gives us a breaking structure back on the downside, probably on the 4-hour time frame, I still have to stick with the bias that we want to take things longer. So I'm going to be looking for buy opportunities and buy setups. We have about this is 84 to 50, so about a 70-point move, right? So there could be a really good opportunity to find maybe one or two trades in that range. So we'll see what happens. As far as pullback levels go, again, I mean, I don't know if we'll get one, but ideally it would be something like this. And then looking forward to Euro future or pound futures, same thing really. I mean, like I think we're rallying to run higher. And I actually like this a little bit more because there's more room to jump. It's like a 200-point jump to that high. But same thing here, right? We are taking out old highs. This is April, March. Yeah, the only difference here is that if we put these side by side, that euro looks like it took this old high. Yeah, this is April, whereas pound did not take, or pound argue did take that high, and euro didn't. So that's something to note, that pound is trading above an area where euro isn't. That could be a sign of divergence, but either way, I'm still looking up for us to take these highs. I like this trend line liquidity is sitting right there, and how the market's really hasn't taken that fully yet. So from there to there is still like 50 points. So there could be a really good opportunity to take those highs. So again, we'll be watching that. Best case scenario, we would see something like this. Looking at yen, same idea here. I mean, yen is interesting because we've consolidated, manipulated, broke structure the other way. Really have been wicking off of this area here. So let me go to the daily time frame. So there's that. So we took that old low, and then we manipulated higher. So in theory, this is a daily breaking structure. So we could be seeing the market run higher, but we are wicking off these levels. So I'm not too sure about that. Being careful about that we couldn't fall back into an overall arching downtrend. So again, in the long term, I did see the market want to trade up higher and go lower again. So I'm going to hold on this one, but euro, I like to go bullish. Pound, I like to go bullish. And then NASDAQ is really completely shot out of its range. I mean, since the beginning of March, we pretty much have jumped almost 6,000 points. I mean, the crazy thing about this is that this is the low of the year pretty much, and we immediately broke out of that range. This time last year, we were sitting at 17,000. So we pretty much almost doubled the S&P in the last year, or the NASDAQ in the last year, which is crazy range to be in. just everything that's been going on with the economy and the markets has been crazy to watch. But I mean, this is a pretty easy read. I mean, ideally, I want to see the market. The market has just been shooting parabolically up, and so ideally, if we had a range, I would love to see the market form and trade back into one of these overarching like 4 hour fair value gaps, like this one here, because it is the closest fair value gap to this order block that we're seeing in this range. So would love to see the market do something like this. And the one thing that I've learned is that a lot of times traders try to trade the highs and chase the highs and call the high, right? And what I mean by that is they want to call the top of the high and start shorting against it. And my thing is that, like in my experience, these bull runs go longer than you think they are, and the pullbacks go on longer than you think they are, right? So a lot of times the easiest thing to do is just wait for a good opportunity to catch the existing trend. Don't try and short this because again, the point of Nasdaq is that the market will run higher over time, and we can't sit there and try and time this, right? I have no idea. This could turn over at 31,000. This could shoot to 40,000. It doesn't, we don't know, right? And the point of it is for it to go up over time. So don't try and time the market. Look for opportunities to continue on to the trend. So ideally, would love to see the week start off where we trade back into that 4 hour fair value gap and then look for opportunities for it to run higher, right? So something like that, or maybe even that higher one. I only picked this one because it's the closest fair value gap to the order block, which lets us know that the market could be running higher. So again, bullish, extremely bullish here. If I go to ES, there we go. Probably the same idea, right? We are bullish. Now we have an order block that's sitting right here on the daily time frame. So what am I looking at? What am I looking for? Right? I want to see if the market can come back down to support that level. Maybe trade back into that. It's the weekly time frame. We have shot up parabolically the last 6 weeks or so have been bullish. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down, but again, I can't trade that. Any short-term bearish trade that you're taking should be very, very just that short term. So ideally, again, we see this order block here sitting there at the 7,300 level. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down, traded back into it like this, and ran higher. Wouldn't be surprised if we came back down here and took this low. So I'm going to label all these levels here that I think sell side could be resting at. Yeah. And then obviously there's that fair value gap in the 4 hour right there. That's in that range. So yes, that's what I'm looking for. I don't know if I necessarily have a fail safe with this. I guess in theory, if we did take out this level, it still would be considered the fail safe. But with Nasdaq, I'm really just looking for very short scalps. Same thing with ES. If there's an opportunity there, how can I come in, get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 points, maybe 100 max, and then call it, right? Like you can't really know for certain where these markets are going to go and how they're moving because they're just moving so like this last couple of years since the new administration. It's just been really interesting watching how this stuff moves. So I'll say this on NASDAQ or YM, same idea. I think it's interesting that YM did not break the previous highs that it's been trading at, while NASDAQ and ES has not taken out that 50,000 high from February. Looks like it's actually getting weaker. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 passes into that and have not been able to take that. But again, same idea. I mean, I still want to see this run bullish because I can't really bet against what's going on yet. We need to see a break in structure on the daily, 4 hour, etc. So again, the indices are going to be more day to day. They're going to be more varying based on the setup. But long term currencies is giving us some views, giving us some outlook there. What's going on, Tony? Hope you've been well, man. I know I've been MIA the last week or two, actually last month or so, but life has gotten heavy and yeah, and the markets have not been giving me favorable setups, to be honest with you. Now, if we go back and look throughout our currency setups, there just hasn't been a ton, right? If we go back and look at euro, even though we think we know the overall direction or might have a guess on the overall direction, just hasn't been a ton of us of good potential setups that the market's been giving us. Um, and honestly, you're gonna have that, right? Um, you're gonna have such sessions like this or months like this. Here was a good one that happened last Wednesday, going into Thursday. Took out the low there, ran up 67 to 98, 30 points. It's not really crazy big, and then we reversed. It wasn't a good setup there. It was a good setup on Monday. Actually, a really good one that you could have held all week for about 100-ish points, which is not that much, to be honest with you, in currencies over the course of 2 or 3 days. Same thing here on Friday. There was one good one Wednesday. So this looks like the market's starting to find it, but the overall range is not great. So yeah, so hopefully you guys get some value out of that. If you have any questions, just hit me in the chat, and peace.